All right, ladies and gentlemen, how is everyone doing? Let's sort this camera out. Oh, that look okay? Looks all right. How's everyone doing? Welcome to today's stream. Let's see who's here on YouTube. We've got Stylin40 currently says one watching now, so that means everyone who is important is already here. Lol. Yeah, you are here. Excellent stuff. We are also streaming on Twitch. Mr. Jam is here, says sup guys. Texas Rat Boy says good morning, and Cats and Tats 40 says subscribed at tier 1. Awesome. Thank you for that. Hannah Disco says well done Gareth on the Binkin Island. Cats and Tats says yo man, congrats on the Dublin. Ray says afternoon Gareth. How's it going, Ray? Good to see you here. What are we going to do today? Right. Well, I just got back from Ireland. Some of you obviously knew that already. But I didn't want to not do the stream. I just had a nap. I've got this app and a watch. It's a Whoop watch, and it shows you like how good your sleep is. So let me just fill you in on how the last few days have gone. So like Wednesday to Thursday night. I don't know if you can see this. No, wrong camera. 100%. Then the day I travelled to Dublin, 61%, 4 hours and 44 sleep. 65% on Saturday. And normally I get high 90s. 71% Saturday to Sunday. And then, oh no, maybe that was today. Or maybe it picked up on the fact that I had a nap. Who knows? Yeah, apparently now I've had even more sleep. So yeah, maybe it's picked up on the fact we've had a nap. Not sure. Anyway, so yeah, I'm absolutely exhausted, but I didn't want to not do the stream, and here we are. So let me sort this mic out. What is going on? So I thought what I'd do is just walk you through setting up PIOSims and seeing what we can learn about that, because it's not just about what we can learn from what the sim tells us, but actually how to set the sim up in the first place. So we'll talk about some stuff like that, and yeah, I thought we'd just do that. So I've just found out some hands. Normally for these Pio sessions I would have run like five hands already, and we could have gone through them, but yeah, I got back at I don't know, 10:30, chilled out for a bit, and had a nap this afternoon, so I didn't really have a chance to run any sims. So we're going to get into it. We're going to look at this first hand and see what we can learn. So we see a raise from the hijack, and the cutoff, that's us, calls, and we see a squeeze from the button. So we now call, and the pot's already 30 big blinds. There's 113 back, so the SPR's just under 4. And let's see what happens in this hand. We check. Our opponent bets quarter pot, and we call. So what I think would be good here is to see whether we get any check raising. I want to see what my opponent's strategy looks like in position, and whether our hand is just good enough to check raise and get it in. It feels awkward because it's 100 big blinds, but the SPR is only 4. So yeah, we want to see, like, is there any benefit to check raising? Is there any benefit to leading the turn? He now bets. Now is a good time to bet. That's the question. I just call again, and then the river goes check, check, and we probably lose. Okay, cool. So yeah, we're going to have a look, and we're going to set this up. So I'm going to pull this. Is this going to work? Wow, look at that. Behind is Pio ready to go. So I was going to walk you through this, guys, because some of you might be interested in Pio. You already have Pio. Maybe you want to learn some stuff about how to set up sims. Maybe you're using something like GTO Plus or other post-flop solvers, and you can do similar things with those as well. So I think that's a good thing to do today. So basically what we're going to do is, I'm going to walk you through it. You're just basically looking over my shoulder at me setting some sims up, and then because it's a 3-bet pot and the SPR is quite small, it shouldn't take too long. This is going to run on the server, so it should only be a few minutes so we can chat in whilst it's running. Ryan on YouTube says, is PIOSolver better than GTO Wizard? They are two very different pieces of software. They kind of give the same result, sort of. I like Pio because you can set up your own sims, and it's stuff we're going to talk about today, in that you can, if you can run custom sims, then you can choose the bet sizes, and rather than in GTO Wizard, when you've got, I don't know how many bet sizes, 6 or 7 bet sizes on each street. So yeah, I think it's always good to limit the number of bet sizes. I think if you've got like 7 bet sizes, how do you choose which one to go down if they're all used? Whereas if you had 2, it would be very clear, like, is it small bet or big bet? And that's easier to manage as a human. And you're really not going to lose that much EV as a human as well, by using the smaller, by using fewer bet sizes. So we're going to put the flop in, try and get it right. The starting pot is 30.2 big blinds, so I always write this as just 3020, to just basically multiply everything by 100. Is that right? Yeah. And then we had 11332 behind, so 113.32 big blinds behind. I am going to grab the ranges from Monka for this. So we'll talk about that as well. So in position, this is their 3-betting range according to a Chippy V solution. Whether it's close in reality is another story. And then we're going to copy this range as well. Oh, let me just show you this actually. So this is the continuing range, right? But this is the strategy. So the numbers on here are how frequently you would continue with these hands if you'd opened them in the first place. If you change it to range, you can see that some of these hands have disappeared, right? Because we don't, this is not going to make a lot of sense now, but we don't call with all of these hands pre, right, at 100% frequency. So if you have king queen suited, you should always continue it versus the 3-bet if your opponent is 3-betting aggressively enough. But this is the frequency that we actually continue with these hands, because some of these hands are going to 3-bet, or some of them are going to 3-bet pre. So we're out of position. We're going to paste this in. Okay, so let's talk about bet sizing then. I just mentioned this about having 2 bet sizes. My first thing I want to do is just to see what the geometric sizing is. So this 3E. I know that you can do this on GTO Plus, but I can't remember what it's called. So you can see like the geometric sizing is half pot. So I would probably choose a bet size that was half of that size as our bet size. So something like 20 to 25%. What would be quite interesting is if I just show you this, how big they actually went, right? Which is, I think it's quarter pot, right? 755 divided by 30, 20. So yeah, 25%. So we'll go with 25% and and go from there, I think. So you can just put the bet sizes in here. Normally I do them around the other way, but I don't think it really matters. So now we've got 2 bet sizes. And this, by the way, in Pio 2, you can edit these lines, and it's a really cool feature. Let's add all in before we forget. And then in terms of raise size, probably smaller in position than out of position. SPR of 4, so let's see. Let me just work this out. SPR of 3.75 actually. So roughly the same SPR as playing like a 20-ish big blind pot, like in position against the big blind. So let's go. That's probably too small. Let's go this, 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 and I'll show you something about this in a moment. As the raise sizes, so smaller in position and larger out of position. And then we are going to choose some bet sizes, and I'm probably going to go 25 2E. And then let's do this. I mean, generally I'm not a big fan of using less than half pot, but I think this is going to be fine. And then something like this. So we've got quite a few bet sizes on the river if needs be. But if we go bet, then we are probably going to be all in anyway, and so there won't be 3 bet sizes at all. Right. Are you following me so far? Is everyone with me? Let me see how we're doing. Elliot Booker on YouTube says, congrats for the win in Dublin. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, Yanis is on board. Let's see. Oh yeah, so let me just talk you through why I'm using these geometric sizes. So what's really nice about using 2e rather than 75 or 67 or 50 or anything like that is that it's sort of dynamic to how big the pot gets. So if we bet big on, or you bet small on the flop, then it's going to be a bigger turn size. If you bet big on the flop, it's going to be a smaller turn size. So I always like to use it. I think it's kind of like a cheat way of, or a quick way of getting the what could be quite a good useful bet size. If you don't know what 3e and 2e is, by the way, in geometric bet sizing, it's betting the same percentage of the pot on each street so that you have the same amount back on the river. So let's say, I mean, you can see it. I'll show you here. So you've got 52%. So we bet 52%, then on the turn, the geometric sizing is going to be 52%. And then by the river, we should have, wait for it, 52%. Okay, so you're betting all the sizes, but you don't need to sit and try and work that out. There is a formula for it, but Pio is going to be able to work it out itself. So something I wanted to add on the raise sizes was actually to just try adding the geometric sizes for the flop as well. I mean, I don't think this is going to work, if I'm honest. Let me just see. Yeah, it's quite similar to the sizes we've already used. For the big one, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I do quite like it for the turn. So let's see if it goes like this: bet small, call, check, bet small, and then have we not added it? What's going on? It's definitely in there. What's that's 45. Where's our geometric sizing for the turn, eh? That's a bit weird. Oh well, not too worried about it, but it should work. Let's have a look at this. Styling 40 says I'm keeping up. Matt Burns says, what does 2e mean? So 2 equal bet sizes. This might be able to, this will probably tell you better than I can. Split remaining effective stack size into n equal bets. So yeah, 3 would be 3 equal bets. So one on the flop, one on the turn, one on the river. 2e would be 2 equal bets, one on the turn, one on the river. You can actually set 2e on the flop if you want to. I'm still kind of oh, that's why we didn't add. There you go. We didn't add the raise size for 2e here. That's why. It'd be interesting to see what it looks like. Yeah, it's not too dissimilar from what we've already got, so that's fine. So let me just show you why it's quite useful to use this, because if you set all of this up and then you get to the turn and you get bet sizes that might not be right for the situation. So you've got this, I presume is geometric, and a small bet as well. But when it goes check, in position, betting quarter pot and betting pot, you might think, actually, that's not really going to work. I want to have, let's say, 45% as my small bet and the geometric as my big bet. So you can add 45, like I just showed you there. Like you just put this number in here, add new bet size, and then you click this 25% and you remove it. And then you can see here, we've added a line here and we've removed a line here. So out of position can bet small and pot. But in position, we're going to go like roughly half or 45 and geometric instead. Having said all of that, we obviously need to, this is another reason why running your own sims is good. Obviously, this is taking forever because I'm talking you through it. It wouldn't normally take this long, but running your own custom sims is good because you want to actually see the bet sizes used in game. So that looks to me like half pot. So he goes quarter pot on the flop and half pot on the turn. Now, if we do this, he goes quarter pot on the flop, and then on the turn, the geometric sizing is actually 69% for him, but either he doesn't know that or he thinks that half pot is better. If we bring this back in, you can see half pot we call, there's 90 big blinds and then we've got 83 back. So I think he should go bigger on the turn if he is going to bet. So what do I want to do? I want to edit that, I think. I want to edit it and change it to 50%. So I'm going to put 50 in here. I think we want to use the right bet sizes. Obviously, the smaller somebody bets, the more hands you can continue with. So we'll continue a little bit more frequently against the 50 than against the 69. And we're going to remove that because those two bet sizes are probably too close, to be honest. And the 2 is, if you think about it, the 2 is pretty much a blank, right? It doesn't complete a flush, doesn't complete a straight. It's a blank. It's not an overcard. It's not an ace. So yeah, I think we should see bigger bets on this turn. But this is why we do this, right? Just to have some ideas and think about, okay, what do we think is going to happen on the turn? And then if that's not the case, then we can learn from it and go, oh, actually there is some small betting going on here. That's interesting. So we can save this. Let's make sure. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to run this, and there shouldn't be any ICM. This is a sim I ran earlier on, but yeah, we're going to click build tree. This really shouldn't take too long, so maybe I'll do some questions in the chat. Like2fish0 says, let's run this. Hi Gareth and chat, congrats again for last night. Appreciate that, thank you. So 3 equals geo flop bet and 2 equals geo turn bet. Yes, exactly, you got it. Lidsey says, I'm late to the party, but that's my bad, so I'll catch up on what I missed later. No worries. I'm just walking you through some Pio stuff, and it's kind of, my apologies today, guys, that I haven't got anything prepared. I only got in this morning, had an early start, and then got back to Leeds about 10 o'clock, and then home after that. I think I mentioned earlier I was home by 10:30. I definitely wasn't home by 10:30. I was barely out of the airport at 10:30. But yeah, that's so yeah, I didn't have time to prepare too much, so I thought I'd walk you through some stuff and just give you some ideas as to what's going on here. Is the geometric sizing better versus good players or bad players, or does it not matter? It's a great question. I think you can manipulate weaker players by choosing different bet sizes. And I think there'll be certain situations where players will be inelastic, which kind of means, if they're going to continue against a bet, it doesn't matter what bet size you use. But if you think they're going to be elastic and you think, okay, this kind of player who's not going to check raise me aggressively enough, I'm going to use smaller bets on the turn, and essentially this whole idea of like buying the showdown, I'm not a big fan of it. Then I'm just reading some stuff from JJ Rowe. We'll get to that in a moment. Where was I going with this? Yeah, so this idea about like buying the showdown. So you could do that if you think your opponents are just going to call too frequently. If you bet too big, they'll fold, but they're also not going to put you in a spot that a really good player would. So you can kind of get away with it. Okay, let's look at this. What do you think of having a 2E and 3E size for turn in position? The 3E as the small bet to make it easier to have a template that can be used across many different stack sizes. It's not something I've thought about before, but I can understand it. What I like to do on the turn is to essentially, I'll just show you this again, like we just did, is to have, I mean, it wasn't the same as this, right? But the big bet size was 67, the geometric. We've changed it because it was, this one here. It was like 67%, and so I'd want a number that was like half that. That's a little cheat that I use. I've got absolutely no maths to back that up as to that it would be good. I just know that in order to work out a strategy for playing the turn at this SPR, I probably only want 2 bet sizes. Maybe all in gets used as well, but I want a small bet and a big bet. That's it. And if I want my big bet to be the geometric sizing and be like 67%, then the small bet could be anywhere between 20 and 33, I guess. But I've not used the 3E. I don't even know. Let me put it in here. 3E. 40%. I feel like that's just too close, right? 39 and 67. Yes, okay, it's not overly close, but I think you want to have, I would half it. Yeah. What does this do? Yeah, 4E. I'm going to go 4E, but it might just be that this is the, this is just what we've got here. So let's get rid of that. Okay, I always run to 0.1. So we're almost there now. And not too much to say. We'll talk about this in a moment. Someone just asked when the book was out. because there's a book here. Definitely want to get this book. Let me see. Hi, when is the release date of your book? I don't have an exact date, but it's looking like June or July this year. It's with the publisher now, and they're doing what publishers do with a book. So I've finished everything. I've written everything, and they now make it look really nice and make sure the graphics look great in the book and things like that. So, yeah. Okay. No other comments, questions, anything at all? We'll get into this and have a look. This number seems to be going up rather than down, which is interesting. Okay, and this is something that I thought would be interesting. We might need to rerun the sim, which is a bit annoying because I don't really want to do that because we need to then wait for it to finish. But let me just show you what's going on here. So if you never used Pio before, this ready color is the big bet. The smaller color is the small bet. And it's actually got the bet size in brackets here, and the bet size is a percentage of the pot in brackets and the actual bet size in chips. So this is bet 15.72 and this is 7.55. And green is check. And that corresponds to what's going on over here as well. And you can see that the small bet doesn't really get used. So what's going to end up happening is if I click this is a really low frequency line, and it's just not one we really want to explore. So I might just rerun it and just force the small bet instead, which is what I'm going to do actually. So let's do that. And fewer bet sizes means quicker tree, so that should be fine. But interesting, versus the small bet, 8s wasn't raising, right? New Dave, thanks for the follow. I think I missed a few follows and stuff. Did I? Let's have a look. Cats and Tats followed and then subscribed. I appreciate that. I think I mentioned that before. I don't think there's any others. So yeah, okay, cool. Okay, yeah. So now, can you see now I've just changed it to one bet size, so the sim's going to change somewhat, and maybe some things happen. We'll soon see. But yeah, so the question is, if you just joined the stream, by the way, let's recap on this hand that we've spent ages talking about and not really any kind of strategy, really. Squeeze from the button, we flat, cut off, and we check call, and check call, and it goes check, check, and we lose. So we want to look at, we've already seen that the flop, the in-position player, the reason why I've changed the names, by the way, to mask the player names, is because this player is a reg, and I don't want to just absolutely hammer them on the stream, right? But as we saw, small bet doesn't really get used, but it's kind of like a default cheat, like, oh, I'll just bet quarter pot in a 3-bet pot because I don't really know what else to do. And to be fair, like, it was probably really effective against very weak players. So basically he's just saying, I've got no respect for your game. I'm going to use quarter pot on this board. And I'm not a fan. So, but yeah, that's why I changed the names, by the way. So you can't see. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, we'll get into it in a moment. New Dave says, Ian Simpson sent me here. Well, shout out to Ian Simpson for sending you here. Okay, let's see. Okay, we've still got ages for it to run. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty interesting. We do have these two bet sizes that I chose, which was 3E and 45%. So yeah, they're very, very similar. Probably don't. I mean, I wouldn't have two bet sizes that close. Normally, you wouldn't go, oh well, there's 1% that have gone into the 45%, and 10% of our range wants to go in this 39.2%. That's just bonkers. But as you can see on this board, we really don't fold that much. We'll see how much that continues, but you can see that we still have a lot of chips behind, and our opponent's betting quarter pot when they should have been using bigger bet sizes or checking, and we don't want to fold a lot. So you can imagine the kind of hands you want to continue with. It's going to be shout out to Benjamin for resubscribing 27 months in a row. Oh my goodness, well done. That's incredible. Thank you. So yeah, the kind of hands we want to continue is pairs and draws, right? And then probably overs with a backdoor flush draw as well. So if we look at this, in fact, ace queen off continues all the time. But if we look at our opponent's range, I mean, it does include some hands we're doing very, very well against, like weaker ace x and queen x hands. But let's see how long this has got to go. Okay, it's almost there. But yeah, we can continue with 2 overs with a backdoor flush draw. We're always going to continue with flush draws. Jack 10 of hearts gets a bit dicey, and then we're going to continue with all pairs. But interestingly, jacks is the only one that really has any raising if we didn't 4-bet it pre. And we would have 3-bet. We either 3-bet against the original opener, or we're going to back raise, I guess, like flat and then 4-bet. So that's why it's not really in there. But if it was, it's a pretty reasonable hand to do it with, because if you look at our opponent's range, it includes a lot of like 8s, 9s, and 10s that we're going to get value from. Yes, okay, we're going to own ourselves against queens plus, but whatever. So, but yeah, 8s doesn't want to do any raising here because, like, what's the real benefit of doing that? We're just going to get it in against hands that have good equity, and we're going to fold out hands that are doing not great against us. So, yeah. Benjamin says, congrats on the live score. I appreciate that. Thank you. So yeah, we're going to call with 8s, but as we already talked about, we did just run the sim for last time, and it had some big betting in here, and it's the kind of board that I think we would expect to see bigger betting on. Right, let me just show you. Nope, this is what I want to see. Okay, so if I had to say to you guys who has the equity advantage on this board, you might have said the in-position player, right? And remember, this is for anyone who is late to the show. Hijack opened, we flatted, button squeezed, and we called. So you might think it was the button in this situation, but it's not. I mean, they're really, really close, 49.9%. So I assume with the rest, 50.1. But we've got sets. We've got 7s. We've got 6s. We have no, that's not us. We've got all the sets: 7s, 6s, 4s. We can have some 5x that has a straight draw. We can have a pair and a straight draw. We can have some 2-pair, in fact. Another pair and a straight draw here, another pair and a straight draw here, 2 overs and a straight draw, and all of the other hands we just talked about in terms of flush draws and backdoor flush draws as well. So this is why our opponent is probably going to have big bet and check. Let's have a look at in terms of like really, really strong hands here. So yeah, nobody has a straight, as you would expect, in a 3-bet pot, 3-bet squeezed pot on a 7-6-4 board. No one has 8-5 or 5-3. Whereas if you were playing in position against big blind, then big blind could have those hands, right? So this is something I talk about with a group I work with sort of every couple of weeks. Talk about not just the sort of trying to think about this spot in exactly the same way all the time. Like you can't look at in position against the big blind and think that that's just how you play every single spot, every single flop, in for the rest of time. This is a very unique spot in that we've faced a squeeze pre, or he's squeezed and he's in position against us. That's going to be very different from playing against in position against the big blind. Having said that, strategy is somewhat similar because it was big bet and check, right? And he doesn't really have too many sets. I mean, let's just go back and have a look. He has 7s and 6s a small percentage of the time. In practice, how often does the button squeeze with 7s and 6s here? Like, I mean, you tell me. In the games that you're playing, like, how often does that happen? I think they flat a lot in, like, they're on the button, they have a pair, they're 100 big blinds deep. Oh, let's just call with those hands. So yeah, I'm not sure that they even 3-bet this aggressively, but we'll just work from equilibrium to begin with. In a chippy V, of course, we're not run this sim for ICM or anything. Okay, so yeah, we do a lot of calling. Let's explore our range a little bit. So we're actually doing some learning today. So we don't have a straight. Sets are going to mainly call, but there's some raising too, and raising 4s because I presume your opponent's going to have some. That's not going to work. Where are we? Some 7x, yeah. So 7x and some 6x that we don't want to block. Whereas I don't have too much 4x, as you can see. Like ace 4 isn't really in there, and there's no other 4x. So that's why 4s is raising more frequently than the others. But there's some raising going on with those hands as well. We have 7-6, and we're just going to call as well. Over pairs and mainly just going to call. So you can see how passive we're going to play even with some really strong hands. Top pair is just going to play passively. Second pair is going to play passively. Why is 6-5 raising and a6 and king 6 isn't then? Any ideas, guys? Let me know in the chat. Okay, Principle 22 says 6-5 has more equity. Let's investigate. So 6-5 on average 65%. King 6 and a6 have 58%. So absolutely spot on. The fact that you have a pair and a draw rather than just a pair, and yeah, it'd be interesting to see actually. So we get to second pair. Let's have a look at this. So you get to deny equity against 2 overs, but you just have good equity when called as well. The thing is, let me show you equity out of position. So your equity is 65%. You raise, it goes up to 66, but then they call and it drops again. Can you see? It's now 58, 59%. So it's a hand that is going to retain its equity even when called, right? Because your opponent's still going to continue with a lot of hands that you're ahead of, and you've got good equity against. So you can actually be ahead of some hands like ace king with a backdoor flush draw. Same hands here, flush draws and stuff like that. Okay. Bowie says, straight from winning in Ireland to the lab, some bloke. Well, there's no rest for the wicked, Bowie. We've got a scoop to prepare for in however many months, 2 months, 2.5 months. But yeah, this is I would say that this is a very kind of an easy stream today. I've done no preparation. Every stream I've done up to this point, every Monday we do these streams. So if you're new to the stream, welcome. And if you haven't clicked the follow button yet, click the follow button. If you haven't subscribed on YouTube and you're watching on YouTube, then think about giving a like and subscribe as well. Yeah, so I've done no prep, and we're just kind of exploring the sim really, and seeing what's going on. And we walked through how I've set this sim up, and what else are you saying here? GG Masters 150 to win tonight. I did fire a bullet last night. Once we went for dinner, just near where the hotel is, and had a really nice Thai meal actually, and got back and flicked it in with 14 big blinds. Didn't make day 2. But there's more. There's another chance tonight, so let's get involved. Lord Barrow says, this Bowie guy thinks he knows a thing or two about this game, but then rifles it into top boat. Well, if you haven't rifled it into top boat before, have you even played the game? Thanks for the follow as well. All right. By the way, this is my new book. It's just gone now. You can also join the Facebook group, as you can see. So keep an eye on this. I did indeed bet 150 jam into a flopped boat in the 5k Titans. Not what I was targeting, as it happened. That's surprising. I really thought that might have been. But good on you for no fear. Just send it. Okay, where are we at with this? We're not raising here. Oh yeah, I was talking through the. We were looking at the different strats. So the overall strat is that we just play very passively on this board, and yeah, what's Paddy Jim saying? Congrats on the win, guys. Would you say you're more of a live player now? Well, bearing in mind I've played 1 live tournament in the last 6 months. No. Yeah, definitely not. Hannah Disco, Bowie never makes any mistakes. I mean, let's be honest, guys. If we bet 150 and jam into a flop boat, we still might not have made a mistake. Anyway, we're getting a bit sidetracked. What hands are we check raising? Okay, yeah, so we're just about to go through this. We've already looked at this second pair and how 6-5 retains a lot of its equity when we check raise. Whereas a hand like a6 and king 6, in fact, I can probably show you this. So average of 56.9, we raise and we get called. That's not working. Why didn't it? Oh yeah, because well, you can see the equity here. It's 47.8%. but it doesn't exist because you're not supposed to raise it. Let's get back here. Okay, so let's carry on. Third pair, a little bit of 5-4 suited in there as well for similar reasons. Let's carry on though. 3s and 2s are in there as well. I think some players might struggle to. I mean, not 3s because you have a gut shot facing a really small bet on this board, but maybe 2s becomes harder for some of you. I'm not sure. And then ace highs, we're obviously going to continue with a straight draw. We're going to continue with the straight draw. We continue with the backdoor flush draw, backdoor flush draw, backdoor flush draw. Ace jack of spades and ace jack of clubs, I think, is an interesting one. Indifferent already against this size. Ace queen off always wants to continue ahead of a lot of ace x hands already. But as we said before, like it's not really a size that gets used this small bet. So I'm not really sure. King highs. I mean, I think this is fairly straightforward. I guess some of you might not see this, but flush draws and backdoor flush draws. When you're facing a small bet, you just don't want to continue. Don't want to fold. Sorry, you don't want to continue. You want to continue quite a lot, and you can see here we're only folding 16.83% of the time. So you really need to have like king 9 of clubs. I mean, even that's continuing some of the time. Bad example. King 10 of clubs with no backdoor straight draw. 8, 9. That's got a backdoor straight draw. But you get my point. So you really want to just have nothing going on. But if you have a diamond, then you should probably continue, or 2 hearts. 10 9s, 2 overs and a gut shot. Okay, right. So that's pretty much it. I mean, we didn't really see what was raising. Ace 5 of diamonds, combo draw. Let's look at the equity. 68%, a lot of equity. Ace 8 of diamonds, combo draw. 6 5 of diamonds, just ridiculous. Basically a value hand at this point. Let's have a look. Continue throughs, bit of some flush draws in there as well. 8 out straight draws. Yeah, okay, and any 4 outs, not really. Okay, so we face a bet and call, and let's go back to the hand. He bets half pot now, which is again like not the sizing I would have chosen, and it's a complete blank. So the first thing I want to see is if we have any leads, which we do. Let's see if there's any standout leads. Okay, so guys, in the chat, what do we think? Why is a 3, a 5, and an 8 the standout leads for us on the turn? Paddy said he was joking about the live player thing. Okay. Thanks for the congrats, sir. I appreciate that. Why are these the standout cards? So 7, 6, 4, 3, 5, and an 8. Why are these standout cards for us to want to start leading in this 3-bet pot? What's going on here? Anis, thanks for the follow on Twitch. Appreciate that. No one's got any ideas. Everyone's falling asleep because we're having a session today that's basically just looking over the shoulder of me as I explore this hand with you guys. Paddy Jim, they make a straight and we have more of them. Good. Yeah. So these are all straight completers, right? So very frequently, if the board changes significantly for one player, then things shift around, right? So if we look at equity, you can see a 3, 5, and an 8 are the highest equity cards for the out of position player. So we, might expect to see some leads going on there. JJ Rose says the cards that change the equity the most. What's our overall equity when we call? 50%. Yeah, so for sure. Yeah, the ones that go from 50% to 57% for a 5. So have some leads on those cards. But anyway, the 2 was pretty much a blank. I'm kind of surprised to see a little bit of leading going on here, but there is some. But I don't worry too much about it. But my guess was that the small bet wasn't going to get used on this turn by the in-position player because it's a blank. It doesn't really change anything. They should just be like big bet and check. Now, 50% is not the geometric sizing, as we discussed earlier on. So they're now going to have to, if they bet half pot, you know, there's 91.7% back on the river. That just seems a bit unnatural to bet half pot and then jam. So if they bet 67 on the turn or whatever the number was, they'll have 67 back on the river. I think I prefer that. T-Dub says straights. We have more straights when they come in. Exactly. Elliot says they're straight completing cards. That's on YouTube as well. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So we face a half pot bet. I don't think we want to be folding. We have a very call heavy range. And by this point, we basically just want to continue with the hands that are very, very obviously continues. So I think this is sometimes, I think ace queen off would be pretty challenging here. But against aggressive player, maybe you got to find the basically 50% calls. But I think, you know, flush draws seem to be, you know, easy continues here. But let's just let's explore this. So sets we're going to continue is a little bit of is that jamming now? So we'd have these two raise sizes, by the way, 2E and 45%. And the what gets used the most? Neither. It's just jam because it's a blank. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, so basically sets jam a little bit of the time, but not really. Two pairs going to jam now, though. Jacks is going to jam a little bit of the time. Not with a diamond, though, because you might get, I guess, get back call to buy Jack X of diamonds. Top pair is just going to continue still. Second pair is going to continue. So still quite a lot of calling. Third pair is going to continue. 5-4. I want to see if 5-4 actually gets better hands to fold. I think it's unlikely. Well, having said that, look, 9s and 10s do start folding. Aces folds as well. In practice, maybe it doesn't. And people in 3-bet pots on a 7 high board just fall in love with aces and never fold. Yeah, and then generating some folds from overcards as well. But yeah, that's interesting. Very interesting. We get those hands, well, supposedly, to fold. Low pairs, 3 is just going to continue, still has a gut shot. And then ace high. So yeah, the ace queen is somewhat challenging. I think ace jack of diamonds is an ace 10. Yeah, so these hands seem to be fairly good. Ace 8 of diamonds is still going to continue. So there's only a little bit of that hand now because we would have check raised it on the flop fairly aggressively, I think, and maybe don't even continue it, you know, when it went raise, call, squeeze, pre-flop. And then ace 5, we get to jam sometimes as well, getting better hands to fold and still having equity when called. King high is going to be the flush draws as well. So yeah, I mean, sometimes 3-bet pots, you know, on the defensive can seem intimidating, but I don't think you really should think that because they should be just fairly obvious what you continue with now. Facing half pot is obviously better for us because they should have bet bigger, in my opinion. So the bigger they bet, the more hands we would need to start folding. But yeah, we continue with draws. We continue with good, solid. We continue with all pairs, I think. Is that right? Let's just confirm that. There's a bit of folding? No, so absolutely not. So basically, the only folds you get to do is like with a bit of 3s. That's basically it. So yeah, we don't fold a pair, we don't fold a flush draw, and ace queen kind of is indifferent. And that's it, really. So easy, should be easy. What was the river? The river completed some kind of straight, did it? Yeah. So 3 of hearts on the river. In the chat, guys, before I click this button here, do we think there are going to be any leads going on? Because again, like if we led on the turn on an 8, a 5, and a 3, then a 3 on the river, does that change anything? I mean, if you think about the 5x hands in our range at this point, we've still got some 5x here. We've got pocket 5s. We've got some 5-4. I mean, it's interesting because it's the 5x hands that disappear, right? So we have fewer straights than maybe we think we do. If that makes sense. What do we think, guys? Are we gonna be leading? Are we gonna be checking? Do we think imposition is gonna check back too frequently as well? So that's something to think about. Principal says, don't know, guess some leads. Okay, fair enough. 3 of hearts, and wow. That is some leads. About a quarter of the time we want to be jamming, and as you can see, it's hands that are unlikely to win at showdown, like 10 high, jack high, queen high, king high, ace 9, king 9, pocket 5s is a straight, pocket 4s, 3s and 2s are sets. Yeah, okay. Because our opponent doesn't really like have too much 5x, right? Ace 5 is basically it. So on this 3, and we think, oh no, but my opponent can have a straight. I can't value bet my sets. Well, actually, you can, because they don't have too many straights, and they're forced to call with hands much worse than this. So, yeah, I think again, this is one of those spots where it can be tough, really tough to find a bluff, find enough bluffs here. But yeah, if you do donk jam, for example, I always like to talk about logic. Like, why do we jam king high and not ace high? I mean, there's some ace high, but like, yeah, why do we jam king queen or ace 9? Well, if we jam ace 9, you can get ace 10, ace jack, and ace king to fold. If you jam king queen, you're getting all the ace highs to fold. You're actually also getting some, yeah, you're making the overpairs indifferent, and you block some of them as well, I guess. What else? So yeah, I mean, jamming 10 high, you're getting jack high, queen high, king high, ace high, and some pairs to fold, which is just huge. So that's a pretty big win for us. But you can see our hand just checks and just wins often enough to not want to put any more money into the pot. And checking is just much higher EV than betting. Alex, thanks for the follow. Okay, Bowie said, you build this river leading range around 0 showdown value because EV of a check is 0, but EV of betting pot always is more than 0 on these runouts with less than ace high, but the actual value mixes. Yeah, I think it's a really nice way to put it. Bowie always so articulate in his approach, which is awesome. So yeah, I think that's really nice. So on this run out, taking the non-showdown value hands, really couldn't have put it better. Building it around the non-showdown value hands that can get better hands to fold, and then mixing with the value hands as well. So we checked, and he actually checked back kings in game. And like I said before, this is a reg who is betting quarter pot on this board, and then half pot. So using some funky sizes, and then getting scared on the river. So that's why, if you didn't know already, why I'd hidden these names, because I don't want to hammer the guy. But yeah, if they did jam on the river, which is really the only sizing that should be used, then we're indifferent on the river. But I mean, it's an interesting one. If he's not going to jam kings, then what does he jam for value? Okay, here's a question for you all. Why does kings jam for value but aces doesn't? Let's have a look at some of this. I don't think there are any leads with that river. He's been aggressive. Let them be aggressive. Okay, yeah. The problem is that the solver is not thinking about that. It's just thinking in terms of EV, right? It's not going, oh, the guy's bet previous 2 streets, so let's just let him continue. That's not really how it works. So that's how a human's brain works, and I get that. And we got to switch from being a human to understanding the sort of the logic behind why the solver does what it does. And that's, someone was asking earlier whether GTO Wizard is better than PIOSolver, right? And this is an advert for why you want to run your own custom sims, so that you can flick between the two and you can see exactly what's going on, but with the bet sizes that were actually used, and not the 6 bet sizes that you've got available to you. Any ideas then? Why aces isn't jamming but kings gets to? I think there's one obvious reason. No ideas? Right, let's take a look. Oh, there we go. Paddy says king unblocks ace 7 and ace 6. Bingo. Look at that. Ace jack calls actually here as well. So you can't jam aces because you block the kind of hands that you want to call, whereas you can value jam kings because you can get called by ace 7 and ace 6, and I mean ace jack if a particular punty player. or someone who has a lot of respect for your game calls. Ace Jack of Hearts, pure call. There you go. So, okay. Yeah, I mean we beat bluffs, right? Let's have a look at let's see what we should bluff in this situation. So if you've used Pio and you're not really familiar with some of the stuff on here, if you click here, what you should see is a very I'll go back to all in, but you can see all the strategies for the different hand strengths down here. But if you click the all in button, this is the biggest bet size that you can use at this point, right? So it would make sense that the strategy is going to be polarized. So when you do that, you can see you bet an overpair plus for value, and then you bet king high and nothing as a bluff. Do you see that? So the hands in the middle are going to check, but when you bet, you've got an overpair plus for value and king high to bluff. So you can see jacks, queens, and kings do jam. Sets are going to jam, and straights are obviously going to jam. And then you've got a tiny bit of ace high, so ace 8 could get some better hands to fold. King high is definitely going to get some better hands to fold. And then landing on the river with all of these nothing type hands. Yeah, you can't bluff them all, but you do bluff some of them. So that's pretty cool to see. And that is why aces does not bet and kings does. Paddy says, if only I could work this out in game. Well, this is why we're here, right? We want to put the work in off the table. Yeah. 10k sims and you're good to go. What do you mean by 10k sims, Mizil? Let me know. 10k sims. Cool. So we spent almost an hour setting this hand up and discussing it. We should probably try and do one more at least. But if you've just joined the stream, guys, I haven't prepared anything for this stream. I just wanted to keep things going, keep that consistency going, make sure that you knew that there was somewhere you could be on a Monday for at least an hour of study with me. And basically what I think with these sessions is it could be quite useful. I mentioned this last week, but basically this is just me studying and you there as well, right? And then we can learn together. So that's how I really want to approach these sessions. Give you some sort of motivation to get your own study in as well. But even if you can only come to an hour and a half of this every Monday, then you should be good. 10k. Oh yeah. So there's a saying: 10k repeats makes a master. Yeah. So there's this idea, isn't there, that like 10,000 hours to be an expert. But we actually wrote a book. Trisha Cardner and I wrote a book called Purposeful Practice for Poker that kind of debunks the idea. I think it's is it Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, who talks about the 10,000 hour rule. But the problem is the 10,000 hours needs to be very deliberate and purposeful, and that's why we wrote this book, because it gives you an idea of how you can be successful at anything. I mean, the book's aimed at poker, right? It's called Purposeful Practice for Poker, but you can take the ideas and apply them to anything, whether it's sports, chess, any kind of learning, language learning, music, whatever. So I think it just needs to be focused and specific. Now, we've obviously been really focused and specific on one hand here today, but I mean, someone just said here 10k of hands of DTO in your set. I mean, I wish it was just 10k hands. I think I've done more hands on DTO than that, and I still have still blunder occasionally. But yeah, maybe 10k hands on every spot in DTO and you're good to go. Principle 22, I love the consistency. Cats and Tat says, read that, bro. Awesome. Mizil, yeah, bad practice makes bad master. Jestraku says, do you play chess as well? I'm terrible at chess. I would love to get good at chess, but I'm terrible. Where are we going with this? Right, let's see if we can find another hand to analyze. I want to find one that's relatively straightforward. Maybe this one. Oh yeah, this is an interesting hand. So we'll take a look at this now, and we'll set this sim up and see how we get on. So we raise from middle position, and the button calls. We flop this, have this flop Jack 6 deuce, and I go big on this board. Okay. And then I continue to bet big, and then just get a bit of a lousy river. But we do have the ace of spades, but I think it's absolutely worthless because it's not like he folds a better hand, and we're not deep enough where he's going to be worried about any kind of flush. So if he has queen jack of spades, jack 10 of spades, jack 9 of spades, jack 8 of spades, queen 10 of spades, we did bet big on the flop, but I still think he can continue with 3 to a straight, 3 to a flush. And yeah, I don't know what better hands we would get to fold. When the only hand maybe would be like, no, it probably still doesn't fold, but king queen of hearts or king 10 of hearts, king 9 of hearts. What do you guys think? Stefan on YouTube says bonjour. Bonjour, Stefan. Bienvenue to my stream. What an interesting hand this is. Let's fire up the solver. This might take a little bit longer to run. We shall see. How many bigs deep are we at the start? Roughly 60. Let's have a look. Oh, by the way, I saw someone with a much better setup than mine the other day. We had all the pre-flop, like, out of position versus in position set up to go. And I think that's really nice, by the way. I just never do it. So I'm going to put 60 big blind ranges in here, and we'll go from there. All right, what's going on here? Why not value jam? Is it too thin? Is queen jack, jack 10 not calling? Yeah, I think that's. I mean, let me just show you what happened. This is why I marked it actually, because I'm not convinced I played it. I just don't know about the river. I check and he bets half pot. It's just like, the problem is at this point, I guess we did like, I don't know why I folded. Like, what does he do with hearts on the river? Queen 10 of hearts, queen 9 of hearts, ace x of hearts. I cannot see that folding river is going to be good here. Do we consider check calling if we think he bluffs missed hearts? It was not a question of like whether we think he bluffs missed hearts. I mean, if he doesn't bluff, we should always fold, right? That's fairly obvious. So if we think he's bluffing enough, yeah, I'm not sure what on earth I'm doing here. Anyway, let's get this sim set up. In fact, I'm gonna cheat a bit, kind of. Middle position versus button. 1 second. I don't even know if. Let's see. I might already have a sim set up for this, so it doesn't take as long. No, yeah, I've got this. Okay, let's see. This is a different position, so I'm going to. You can see all the positions, other things have been put in, but we'll change the positions in a moment. Thanks for the follow, whoever that was. We'll get back to it in a moment. Okay, let's put these different ranges in. That's wrong. Let's do this one. Okay, so what we said earlier, 717 is the flop size. We have 6253 behind, and yeah, it's big, isn't it? 589. Is that how big I bet? 537. Is that 75% pot? I'm gonna guess it is. We're out of position. Let's just change this. I bet there's some bet 90. Check, bet 90. Oh, that's fine. Okay, there's not too much in here. So 75, 538. Okay, fine. This is all we want to see, and then just check these bet sizes. Yeah, you can see this bet size is slightly bigger. A position, I think going slightly bigger here is going to be quite nice. We talked about this earlier on. This is just something I like to do for for working out bet sizes and things. It's probably going to be fine, but in position I'm going to just change this and have a 40 instead of a 30. But then that's it. And then how big do we bet? Wow, we do actually use this size. Okay, well, go with me. And then we check and he bets half pot, and it's just never going to get used, is it? But I guess we can force it. The problem is, I just don't. I just think that sometimes he's just like, he's going to jam some hands for value, right? And then he's going to bet half pot. And so I'm not sure if I necessarily want to remove the all in. What did I do wrong here? Why isn't this working? Right, let's cancel this. Let's bet, check. It's just going to not allow me to do this, isn't it? Why is it doing that? That's really weird. There's no 50% bet. Anyway, that is really odd. I don't know what's going on there. Let's make sure we put the right board in as well. So Jack of Hearts, 6 of Spades, 2 of Hearts. I don't know why it's not allowing me to force the half pot on the river. Maybe someone else knows. That is weird though. See what's going on over here. Okay, yeah. So we interesting some feedback already, so which is great. But not potentially not using big bets on flop. That sizing is so strange. I don't think I'd have played big flop bets much. I maybe would like 50 and below, but might just be playing a mix of small bet, not much check call, but often check raise. Cold call pots are a mess. Yeah, it could be this. I've like absolutely butchered this on the flop, but we'll get there in a moment. So this is the spot, guys. If you are not here, I haven't been here. So we raise, and we bet big on the flop, and we're fairly deep here. So I like this idea of potentially not using such big bets on this particular board. And so we continue to bet, and then I think the mistake has got to be on the river. I can't imagine we are ever supposed to check fold this hand. We block the backdoor flush draw like super hard because you can never have ace jack of spades. Of course, you can have queen jack of spades, jack 10, jack 9, jack 8 maybe. He can have lots of other flush. Queen 10, queen 9 might continue versus big bet. Debatable. We'll have a look in a moment. But I'll tell you what would be interesting if we had the jack of spades. Would the jack of spades and the ace of diamonds be a better call in this spot? Probably not, because he's still going to continue with like ace queen of spades, ace 10 of spades on the flop. Let's just thinking, like queen jack, queen. Yeah, I think ace of spades is probably better. Okay, so yeah, we'll see. I think could be flop is just a little bit ridiculous. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's going to be too many big bets here. So it's a big learning point, I think, already. How are we doing for? Yeah, we still got a long way to go. So these out of position sims take a bit longer than the 3-bet pot that we just looked at. So the out of position single raised pot. But yeah, we'll just wait for this to run through a little bit. I'm hoping it doesn't take longer than a few minutes. This is going to be the last hand we look at, guys, but we're going to go into a bit of detail and see what's what. If anyone's got any questions or thoughts or comments or anything at all, then let me know. Oh, almost. Who's going to win the GG Masters then? Who's playing the GG Masters tonight and is therefore putting themselves in the mix to win it? Bowie, of course, is in it to win it. One bullet. Cats and Tats. Is there a satellite? I think there is, yeah. I think there is. I believe that there is. Oh, Coventry on Wednesday. That's the that is a divine punishment. The what's that? The 1500, right? The I don't know what they've called it. The UK Poker Championships. Is that right? Okay, we're getting closer, guys. There's a little bit of big betting with the Ace Jack, but yeah, of course, mainly checking on small bet. Of course, Bowie is going to get it right. Yeah, 1500, 1 mil, and a 2k side. Awesome. Just bink the GGM and then win Coventry on top. That 1500 going to be absurd, probably. And that's on Wednesday. Tempting. It's one of those when your wife says, "Oh, can you know, I'm really looking forward to seeing you. I haven't seen you all weekend," and then you say, "Hi," and then you go away again, go gay, if you want. But you go away again, and yeah, not sure that's going to go down well, but we'll see. Paddy says he's going to Coventry on Sunday for the seniors. Awesome. Paddy, you should just get in the 1500. Cats and tats, I'm doing it for our future. I think that'll go down well. Okay, let's. Is this close enough for us to start exploring it? Okay, well, the percentage is going up again. GG. What else is going on? Okay, let me just do some plugging, because, well, why not? It's my stream. Follow us on Twitter at MTT Poker School. Follow us on Instagram at MTT Poker School. Join my Facebook group. I'm going to post the link to that right now. On Twitch, you can see the link in the chat. I'm going to post it on YouTube now as well. So it's my free Facebook group. We have over 4,500 members. Jipurko, thanks for the follow on Twitch. Yeah, 4,500 members and counting. In there, if you want to learn about MTTs and get regular daily content, sometimes twice a day from me, then get yourself in there, join the Facebook group. You do have to answer a few questions. I know that some of you, after I said that last week, tried to join the group without answering the questions, and were probably wondering why you didn't get accepted. Well, you have to, you've got to answer the questions, right? Well, you're not coming in. What else is going on? I think just join the Facebook group, honestly. I have a podcast as well. We've released 167 episodes of Poker on the Mind with it's me and Dr. Trisha Gardner, who is a poker psychologist. She has a PhD in psychology and is just amazing mindset coach. And I work with her on my mindset, but also on the podcast. And so if you're interested in learning about mindset and tournament poker, which you probably are, given that you are here learning about tournament poker, then check it out. Poker on the Mind is the podcast. 167 episodes. Unbelievable. We're hoping we should hit 200 by the end of the year. It just depends how much time we have off for like the World Series or something like that. Paddy says, if you want to buy me in, how much action are you selling, Paddy? You're going to sell 95% of yourself to the 1500, or you just want me to put up the whole amount for no reward? Okay, let's start going through this. So yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of big betting. It's not completely outrageous to have a big bet, but mainly just check and small bet. And if we played just small bet and check, I think we'd be okay. So if we did check, we do see a decent amount of check raising, but not a huge. I thought there would be a little bit more than this. But yeah. So I guess the issue here is that as soon as we bet big, we potentially go down a branch of the game tree that is not a very frequent one. What did I say about like backdoor flush draw, like Queen 9 of spades? I said, right? So that's not in there. So we should feel better about them not improving to a flush draw. And the thing is as well, let's go back to this. How realistic is it when we go like this our opponent is going to even bet half pot with a king on the end, right? Because the big bets were coming from hands like queens, kings, and aces. So kings, I mean, okay, queen's a bad example, but kings and aces. So what is this? Like, it's very thin to bet a king for value, I think, but we'll have a look. So 4 of spades seems reasonable then, still to continue for this big bet size as well. Obviously we're just line checking here, by the way, guys. I just want to see how bad my play is. Ace Jack does pure check the river though. We can value jam all of our king X. No, we can't. We can block. Okay, so this is a card when we just have a block and that's it. I tried to put the half pot on the river and failed miserably. Yeah, the king X is a bit thin, right? So two pair can jam, king jack and king 6, but the others are going to really struggle. So the flushes that they can have when the king is out there as well, ace jack of spades, that makes sense. So the jack X basically. This is why I talked earlier on about whether the jack of spades would be better than the ace of spades, but ace jack of spades, ace 10 of spades, ace queen of spades, not too much in there. Queen 10 of spades, jack 10 of spades, obviously. Yeah, I do think the jack of spades actually just blocks more of these hands, because when we bet so big on the flop, hands like ace 9 of spades and ace 8 of spades are actually folding. So is ace 10 most of the time. So I think having the jack of spades is probably better. Check, and they bet, and yeah, I mean, so this is facing a good player who's used a bigger bet size. Yeah, I mean, this is why we do reviews, right? I got no idea why I would ever fold here, unless I just had zero respect for this player and just felt like he only ever bet for value. You know, because it's very easy. Like, maybe it's like, oh, well, I've got a set of sixes, for example, and I only want to bet half pot rather than jam. Let's try and see if we can find some, what would be good bluffs for the imposition player. Kind of want this to finish. I mean, let's just have a look at it anyway. So we've got value hands, which are going to be 2 pair plus, as you can see, all of these. And then the hands that want to bluff. See, this is what I was saying about like a king being too thin. King, queen of hearts, fair enough. But yeah, it's too thin to bet. Worse, queens as well. Okay, just getting called by a jack. Same with ace jack off. Okay. All right, let's have a look at some of these bluffs then. So 5-4. Just very rarely going to win enough showdown, but can get better hands to fold at this point. Ace highs exactly the same, and then nothing exactly the same. Just get better hands to fold. So let's have a look at this. We already stopped it, right? So let's see what's going on. So betting a hand like 5-4, you can get a hand like pocket queens to fold. And fives. And a bit of jack X as well without a spade. So that's pretty good. Let me just let me see the EV here. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to say that jack of spades is way better than the ace of spades simply because of this EV. So you just block way more of your opponent's backdoor flush draws, because obviously all jack X of spade hands are available. The ones that he has pre-flop, right? Whereas not all ace X of spade hands are available, because those ace 9, ace 8, they start folding versus the bigger bet. But yeah, this is I don't like my fold on the river, unless again I just thought it was a ruffler, but who only ever value bet on the river. I don't like it at all. I think it's poor. But yeah, this is why we want to look at it, and also the bet size on the flop. I mean, there is some big betting, like it makes sense with queens and kings, kind of a similar hand, and it's why I think you can see ace jack and queens are using the big bet, occasionally or some of the time. But then, king jack or queen jack, then they're very rarely using the bigger bet size. Anim Lover on YouTube says, "Can I ask a theory-related question?" Oh, yeah, go for it. Let's say I don't know what to give him as a hand. Let's say he's got king jack. The problem is we don't know. So I'm just trying to think of his line. So if he bets small, we're just going to explore some different lines here. So we could check raise or we could check call. 4 of spades, a bit of leading, but check. He maybe doesn't bet. King of spades. We block and expect to get called by a lot worse, like all the weaker jack X and the under pairs and 6X and 4X and 3s and 5s. Okay, cool. Let's see, another one. We're going to check raise flop. He calls 4 of spades on the turn. Mixing turn. Looks good. Using the flush draws to bluff with now. Yeah, overcard and a flush draw seems good. Same with these weaker ones as well. What's going on down here? What's this? A6. Okay. So let's say we checked and he checks back, and do we see the kind of the same thing where we can block river? Not with our exact hand. Looks like check call is going to work out better. Now we can see some half pot. We actually check jam. I guess now we have enough chips behind where we can actually get a king to fold. Yeah. So now the king is actually folding. Ace king off, can't call. Even 2 pair is not loving life. So just in a really interesting line that we check raise flop and then it goes check check and they go for value with a king and we can now get that hand to fold. It's pretty cool. A Quinlan on YouTube, congratulations on the win. Enjoyable playing with you. Oh, cool. When did we play? Was that in the 300 or in the main, the 572? All right, guys, I think that's going to be it. I know this was a slightly different session today. You know how normally I'm organised and I've got sims ready to go, but as I said, I only got back a little while ago, and I had a nap earlier as well. Stevie, thanks for the follow on Twitch. If you haven't done so already and you want to, hit the follow button on Twitch so you can be notified exactly when I go live next time. Salander, thanks for the follow. If you're watching on YouTube and you like YouTube and you prefer watching on YouTube, think about subscribing, give the video a like, that'd be great. I was the guy that folded jacks when you folded ace queen to the call for. Okay, brilliant. Yeah. Yeah, that was a really interesting spot. I three bet small, intending to call a Quinlan off, and some other guy decided to 4-bet rip, so I folded ace queen off. Cats and Tats, when's your next live tournament? I'm umming and ahhing about the Irish Open at this stage. We're both a bunch of nits. I think, well, speak for yourself. I mean, I think I may have just made a good fold. I don't think he's not looking down at that action with ace jack or even ace 5 suited, which might even be quite nice, and going, oh yeah, this looks like a good spot to 4-bet rip. He's just looking down at jacks plus, queens plus maybe. He probably gets freaked out by 10s and 9s facing that action, and yeah, it's all good. Right, was that all I wanted to say? Oh yeah, join the Facebook group if you haven't done so already. Look forward to seeing some of you over there. Follow me on social media. Download the podcast. Listen to the podcast, Poker on the Mind. And that's going to do it, guys. Good luck if you're playing live this week. Good luck if you're playing the GG Masters, but as long as you're not on my table. And I will see you soon. I'll see you next Monday for more of this. I don't know what we're doing then, but be there soon. See you soon. Cheers, guys. Bye.